Welcome to the Brand New Me podcast. I'm Frances.
And I'm Pam.
And we are two women passionate about helping others thrive in life, not just survive. In each episode, we're going to find creative ways to offer hope for your future through our own life experiences. So join us every week as we learn together that we really can be a brand new me. We are heading down the road to episode number 40. Woo! But today is episode number 39, and my favorite person, my favorite co-host, my only co-host, Pam, is back with me, and we are together again, and we have not seen each other for weeks. So we're going to catch up today, and we are our normal giddy selves. So welcome, sit back, and just enjoy two friends catching up, and you might even learn something in the process. But first, I want to give a shout out to Rachel Shetterly, who posted on my Facebook page recently and said, I have listened to every single one of your episodes, and I'm sure there's others, but Rachel posted, and I just wanted to say thank you, Rachel. She listens to us while she's cleaning out the horse barn. I'm not sure what that says, but hey, we are glad to have you. So Rachel, this is just for you. Have a great day. Pam, my friend, where have you been? We're finally back together. Where have you been?
I have been from pillar to post, and you have too. So I'm so glad to see you. We haven't seen each other for quite a while, and so this is pretty exciting. We're going to catch up a little bit today.
All right. Well, first of all, you need to tell us you are a grandma. Again, like how many times? So tell us about that.
I am a grandma for the 7th time. And my daughter Megan is the mother of all 7. And so it's very exciting. She had another baby girl. That's 5 girls, 5 dramas right there on the 21st of this month, of the month of March. And it was pretty exciting. She has home births, and I have been to every birth. I haven't missed one, so I'm very grateful I was there for this one as well. And of course, it's an experience.
Yeah, so you were telling me that the snowstorm brought it on. I feel kind of guilty because I love snow, but now that I know what happened to Megan, I feel guilty. But to tell us, what on earth does a snowstorm have to do with a baby?
It's interesting. Like, who would have thought? But we had this big snowstorm. She starts to go in labor, and her midwives, several of the other ladies who were pregnant, go in labor as well because of the barometric pressure. That's about as scientific as I'm going to get because that's all I know other than her labor started and somebody down the street's labor started. And so I'll just say it snowballed. The baby as well. And she is sweet. Her name is Raina Shalom, which is a beautiful name. And she was 7 pounds, 12 ounces, and she's gorgeous.
Oh, that's great. And I'm curious to know, you spoke at Sandy Cove, I don't even know when it was, like a few weeks ago, and you spoke to a widows group. Tell us a little bit about that.
I spoke at Sandy Cove the 1st of March, and they had 150 ladies there. And it was interesting. We had a table full of women, probably 8 to 10, whose husbands had taken their lives. It was great to be there to minister to them. I got to speak to the whole group, but we had some extra time, like at lunch, that we got to talk. And it was good for these ladies. Some of them, it's only been a year, some less. And so it's very fresh to them. So I was thrilled. You know, it's been 9 years for me, Frances, actually March 15th. And so it was good for them to see that they can come out of that. I mean, it's you do need time to grieve. But we had a wonderful time. I enjoyed the Widows Conference, and we had our small groups, and there was all kinds of of deaths, like a sudden death or somebody who's been sick for a while, or one gal's husband was even murdered. So there's a lot of different issues that you have to discuss, and they're still grieving. So it was wonderful to be asked to be there, and I really appreciated being there.
Did you actually feel like you walked away with something yourself, just from being there with some other ladies who've been through that?
I would say that I walked away knowing where I had been. Because one lady came in the small group and she was sobbing every single time. And it's been a year for her that her husband passed away. I said to her, and she was so feeling guilty because she was really the only one sobbing in the group. I said, it's okay, because if that would have been 9 years ago, I would have been sitting right beside you, sobbing with you. Because everybody grieves at their own time. They grieve differently. Different personalities grieve differently. And so she was really sobbing. And then there was a lady whose husband had just died 8 weeks ago, and she did not shed a tear. And so she was questioning me about this lady. I said, listen, first of all, she's grieving differently than you because maybe her personality, maybe she doesn't like sharing her feelings in front of a group, or she doesn't feel comfortable. So we just have to let everybody grieve at their own pace, and everybody grieve the way they're going to grieve and not be judgmental about it.
That's good. I think it's always good to be reminded of where we've been. You know, you were in South Dakota. How was that? Was it nice and warm up there? And what were you doing up there?
No, it was not nice and warm, Frances. It was kind of like Pennsylvania, actually. What's interesting is I was in South Dakota because I stayed with my friend Pat. The church who was having the conference that I was speaking at was in Minnesota, and the conference was actually in Iowa. So I was in all 3 states in one day. It was really cool.
Only you could be in 3 states in one day.
I know. I've never been in any of those states. So we had a wonderful conference. There were 44 women there, and it was fantastic. It was fun. The decorations were beautiful, and they did a mapping your journey. And so I spoke 3 times, and I mapped my journey. And of course, I put together a basket of hope, which is what I do is I put an item in for each loss that I've had or each victory I've had. And then at the end of the weekend, then we draw a name and somebody gets the basket of hope. But these gals were amazing. Everything, the food was delicious. They were just so engaged in everything we were doing, and I had a blast. Plus, I got to see my friend who I have not seen in a year, so it was pretty neat.
You also went on a cruise. I'm a little jealous, but tell us about your cruise.
Don't be jealous, Frances. We did go on a cruise because we thought, we just need a break to get away together and just to relax. And we tried to do that, but on this cruise were 850 children. Now, I love children. I think they're awesome. But I don't want them all on the cruise with me.
Okay. Hold on. You mean like children, or teenagers? That is like, who goes on a cruise and has that many children with them?
It was family after family after family. What happened was New York State, they were on spring break. And I swear everybody that lived in New York was on this cruise with their kids. And so, it was hard to find seats to sit at. And, you heard the screaming and you heard, and it's wonderful. Yes. We just wanted to relax.
You can go visit your 7 grandchildren now and get that, right?
Exactly. And it's a lot cheaper. That's all I have to say. But you know what? All in all, we each read a book. And we did have time to have downtime, and we always have fun together. So it was fine, but the next time I will do a little bit more homework before I go on a cruise. But my question now I have for you, because we haven't seen each other for so long. So the last time I talked to you, we were like, you're really praying about, should you do your concert, Portraits of White, this year? And I was in prayer with you about that. And I know you were really asking the Lord. And then I see it. And I was so excited when I saw you're having it. And you're having it 2 times. You're having it Saturday night and Sunday. So tell me about that.
Yeah. So January was a very tough month for me. In a way, it was good. But I was just at the bottom of trying to make a decision. And so I finally said, look, I need to get away. Like for me, I have a studio, I have a place here that's all my own and it's really great. But when I'm here, it's kind of like my house. I still see things I need to do. And so I went away for a couple days. My whole purpose was to pray and journal. And I just had this uneasiness about doing the show again this year. And I needed to decide, am I not having peace about it? Or am I just so tired that I can't make a wise decision? So I decided to sit down and journal and write out, why was I tired? What's making me tired? And then identify all those things and see if I could identify ways to overcome those and get all that stuff off my mind. Like writing helps me sort out my head and get thoughts on paper. And I hear that a lot, that writing is good for helping you make decisions because it just gets it all on paper and out of your head. So I did that. And then I went back another day and analyzed some more and prayed some more. And when I got all the junk off of my mind of all there was to do and why I was tired, I still felt like I didn't have peace. So I'm like, okay, on one hand, you make decisions based on facts and what you know. But on the other hand, there's this part of you where you make decisions from that's kind of your gut. And like, what is your gut telling you? And I've, in the past, really trusted, and I would call it my spirit. I would trust, what is my spirit telling me? Like, what do I sense in the deepest part of my soul? And I felt uneasy about it. So that was the last big monster. So I did an event also at Sandy Cove, February 2nd through the 4th, I think it was. And they had a life coach there. So I thought, well, for $37, I'm going to try it. She's on the executive team of the John Maxwell leadership team, and I knew she'd be great, but wow. So I had 30 minutes to lay out. I never met her before. She didn't know a thing about me. So I told her real quick about the show and how it's growing, but it's becoming this huge amount of work. And so at the end, she just said, well, what's keeping you from doing this? And I said, well, I just feel uneasy. I don't have a peace about it. And I said, I'm afraid to move forward until I know why I don't have peace. And she said, well, let me ask you this question. Are you 100% sure that you're not to do it? And I said, no, I can't say that. She said, do you have a team of people around you willing to help you? I said, yes. She said, does God seem to be closing the doors for you in any way? I said, no. In fact, they keep swinging open. And more people are coming to offer to help me. So I said, by everything that I can see and sense, the doors are open. She said, then I think you should keep going. And that would be my advice. I went home with a completely different perspective. And I just prayed a little bit more, like, Lord, am I really this 100% sure? And then that Friday, I met with Cheryl Kennedy, and I'm not afraid to say her name and give a shout out because she has helped me the past 3 years. She just started offering to help me with my music overall, my ministry. She said when I was selling CDs, she said, let me come help you sell your CDs. And little by little, I've given her more and more. And last year, she really stepped up. There's aha moments along the way when you're making a decision and you're really digging like that. And one of them was, I realized that I'd gone from being the artist with the dream to the manager of the show. And I was wiped out because though I had a lot of help, I was still carrying the brunt of everything. And so I said to my conductor, I said, Ed, I think I need a manager of the show, and that I need to stop being the manager of the show and get back to being the artist of the show. And so he created a job description for a manager of the show. I knew that it just should be Cheryl. I just felt like she fit it. So she and I got together, and for the first time really since the show, because I just needed a break. She already knew that I was wiped out, and I said, this is where if I'm going to do this again, would you consider being the manager of the show? And I'd actually emailed her the job description ahead of time and said, look at this and pray about this. And she was, by all means, she said, I am with you all the way and I will do this. And so I said, okay. We kind of agreed together that we would do this together. So it's not like I just could walk out the door and now she's doing everything and I can sit and eat chocolate.
Oh, dang.
That's what I'm getting to. day, did I not just decide to do the show? Yeah, we decided to do 2 shows. Part of that is just that December is a really busy time, and people can either come to the show or they can't because it's one date. And if we open up 2 dates, it might free people up. Plus, we're doing an afternoon show. I'm already getting great feedback that people love the 3 o'clock Sunday afternoon show idea, and that's the one they want to come to. So I'm thinking both shows are going to be really well attended.
I think it's exciting. I wish, when you would have said to me, man, I don't know what to do. I wish I would have said, well, do you have people surrounding you? I could have been your life coach, but I guess I'm not a very good one. Let me tell you a quick life coach story. About 1.5 years after my husband died, somebody said, you need to get a life coach, because, I'm still sitting on the couch enjoying my chocolate. Yeah, of course. And I thought, oh, okay. And I was kind of ready to, get up. Let's do something. So I get this life coach and I call her and she says, okay, now I want you to journal. And I'm like, what? I don't want to journal. That's all she kept telling me. Now I want you to journal about this. And now I want you to journal about that. And so, yeah. But you know what? I was paying her and I was going to do what she told me. So I journaled. But you know what? It was kind of the tool that helped me when I wrote my book. Mm-hmm. So and I know what you're saying about that. It just, it opens you up to really see what's inside of you. But I'm so glad to hear this. I'm so excited about the shows and that you have Cheryl, because she is pretty amazing. And I'm excited about that.
Yeah, and it's not that there weren't people like you who were giving me advice, that's for sure. It's just the combination of everything at one time. I had just sorted through all the stuff in my mind and heart and all the advice people had given me, and now I was down to one thing: I don't have peace. And I think the life coach just kind of came right in. She was the last straw. So I do value what you say.
Well, I think when you asked me, I said something like, oh, I don't know.
I don't even remember that I asked you what I should do. That was like 3 years ago, yeah. Pam.
No, I said I'll pray about it.
Oh, okay.
I did.
Well, I appreciate it.
So what else has been happening? You've been traveling a good bit too.
I flew to Georgia and I drove to Virginia, and we had snow in Virginia. I was a happy camper. I did the music at Gideon events. I'm not sure if people know about it, but those who do think that Gideon's only put Bibles in hotels. Like if you go to a hotel, you'll usually find a Bible in the drawer. And yes, the Gideons do that, but they do so much more. And what I do is the state conventions, where everybody from the state comes to one place. And so it's always at a beautiful place. And like Georgia was the Callaway Gardens. So I didn't have much downtime, but I did get to get out and see the butterfly center, and it was beautiful. And they had azaleas were blooming down there, so it was a little taste of spring. But I am always really inspired by those Gideon's conferences. I mean, the men still wear business suits and ties, and you don't see that anymore. The women dress up, and they're trying to get more to business casual dress now, but they run their meetings really prompt, and just their prayer times and how they run things. And they're really aiming at just creating good business, solid business people who serve other people. That's kind of their highest thing. And the Bibles are just, Bible distribution is part of it. But they always bring in some amazing story of somebody who was just at their lowest and in prison or hotel or whatever, and they find the Bible and they start reading it and their life is changed. And they bring these incredible people in to speak. Like Georgia, everybody's all dressed up except for one guy. Had a mohawk, a shaved head except for a mohawk, tons of tattoos, jeans, a leather vest, and I could tell right away he's a motorcycle rider. So I'm like, he's a biker, and I bet he's given his testimony. And so I walked up to him in the convention and I said, people like you are the reason that people think people like me can't be a biker. And he just laughed. And so we got to talking, and turns out he lives in Wisconsin. He's a pastor. But from the age of 10, his dad began to tell him that he was useless and wouldn't amount to much and wish he had never been born. And he just went from bad to worse. And it hasn't been till 9 or 10 years ago that his life was completely turned around. He found the scripture. And it always reminds me just how powerful the scripture is. Sometimes I think I forget that. Sometimes I forget that. because I think that I love counseling, I love self-help stuff, I love all kinds of things, and I know God has given us those things to help us. But I also love to just be reminded of the power of the Word of God in and of itself. And of course, we are full-blown Portraits of White planning. So I'm listening to dozens and dozens and dozens of Christmas songs right now, and we're planning the show right now. So I'm wrapped up in that.
Wow. Yeah, that's awesome, though.
And dresses.
And dresses, that's my favorite part. Of course. You were talking about scriptures, and I just was talking to a friend who went to a women's event this past weekend, and their main focus was on singing the scriptures and how powerful just singing the word is. And, we do know that, and a lot of choruses that are scripture, but I guess this woman has written a book. I think her name's Julie Meyer, and she's written a book about singing the scriptures. And I think it's more powerful than we imagine. I just love that. And I don't know what I'm saying now, but I just love that. Now I'm going to hand it back to you.
I heard about that conference, and I heard that same thing that she was talking about singing, and it made, you know what I thought of? Sing anyway.
Oh, yes.
When the way, I can't remember the words right now, and I wrote it.
That's your song.
That's how we should go out. We should make up phrases and then do the sing anyway.
I know.
Yeah, so can you think of something? Of course we can't think of anything.
No.
So
when the midwife is not there, sing anyway.
Oh, and the snow is coming and you can't get out.
Sing anyway.
Yeah.
We could have probably a whole list of things.
Of course, when your mind goes blank and you cannot think.
Sing anyway. All right. Oh boy.
When the way is dark and you lose your song, sing anyway. When the faith you have is almost gone, sing anyway. Light will come and the pain will ease. Hope will rise with a melody, with a joyful heart, even if afraid. Sing anyway, sing anyway. Sing, sing out love. Find your voice, though you don't know how. You'll be alright, take a leap of faith. Sing anyway, sing anyway. When you're in the fire and you feel it burn,